Alright, welcome into Avowed. So, I felt the need to talk about this game. This is Obsidian's kind of Skyrim-esque attempt, I suppose. So, when I first got into this game, there were big Skyrim vibes stepping out. The world felt pretty and big and exploring, and yeah, really solid. The more I've played it, the more that kind of feels like the wrong game to be comparing this to. And hopefully, I will have a bit of a mooch around and kind of explain why. So, the first thing I think, probably criticism wise for this game, no NPC reaction at all. And if you've played lots of this style of RPG, you will be used to being able to run into town, do that, and have an argument with the guards. It doesn't happen here. They just don't care. Which, in some respects, is all right. In others, I don't know. Makes the world feel a little bit dead. Now, I'm going to try and avoid triggering any main quest stuff, anything sort of spoilery. I'm wondering, can I just skirt the edge of that? What I'd like to do is get out into the wilderness and show off some of the game's stronger points. Being in town is definitely the worst time for this game. There we go. Fast travel out the city, and we will go explore and probably wind up fighting a bear. This game does like to throw bears at you. Okay, can I work out where I am? I say that like I have some concept of navigation in this game, which I don't really. Let's just mooch out this way. So this is where those Skyrim vibes come in, because you can just sort of run around and explore. But you're pretty much always going to be accompanied by NPCs. Now, the NPCs remind me of BioWare games, but that's not necessarily the damning statement it sounds, because they remind me of kind of Dragon Age and Mass Effect NPCs from when those were good. So, kind of Dragon Age 2, particularly. Quite snarky, but Kai has got a chuckle out of me more than once. Especially when I've been sort of horribly blunt and he's backed my character up. So here we go, some bad guys. Now, combat, I would have said, is one of this game's stronger points. I'm still fairly early, so I've not got that much stuff unlocked. It's nice to see flintlock weapons in an RPG. I happen to enjoy the fact that they're just here. I completely missed. There we go. But combat feels like Skyrim with more options. Because I've got my nice simple, I can shoot, but I can also dodge, I can jump, even back dodge. And this, particularly when we apply things like melee, feels quite good. I've got my special abilities. And the combat so far has genuinely surprised me for this sort of RPG. It's been far more engaging than I thought it was going to be. And I think far more engaging than it looks. And this is another point, I think, for this game. It does not look like it plays. Everything feels quick, responsive, and punchy. It does not look it. I'm not fighting the controls or anything to pull stuff off. It's all quite intuitive. Now, Now, as we continue running around, you'll notice you've got basic mantling. There's not really any sort of parkour, but you can climb pretty effectively, so no complaints here. Now, the big recommendation I feel for this game, now I've found some more combat, is the magic system. This is actually kind of interesting. So as you can see, I've got a spell book in front of me, and this gives me access to various spells. I can, in the magic skill tree, also unlock these so that I can cast them as my abilities, which you'll see there in the bottom left-hand corner. I'm also dual-wielding magic and a spear. So that's just camps. There's lots I can do at camps, but to be completely honest, I'm not that. If you've played an RPG before, you know what that's going to be. It's talk to everyone, upgrade gear, the usual RPG-esque shenanigans. And you can also fall off a cliff. So what about the kind of important bit, the writing side of things? Because combat's reasonably fun, but the world's very unreactive. So thus far, I've found the writing to be good enough. I'm not massively drawn down any one quest, and there's not really a character thus far I've gone I really want to learn more about. Equally, I'm not that far in, and commenting on that's quite... It is set in the Pillars of Eternity universe, which my experience of both the Pillars of Eternity 1 and Dreadfire, the sequel, was they're really good, but they are really, really incredibly dense games. This game doesn't feel like I need knowledge of them, but it does feel like all of that sort of heavy, dense lore is going to come back. Everything's very sort of pre-established. Must be more bad guys. This is a huge camp. There we go. Have some ice magic. So, yeah, it's... If you were buying this thinking it was your next Skyrim, it's not, because it's not that sort of game. It's far more like Pillars of Eternity with real-time combat. That's probably the best comparison for it. Is it's sort of a CRPG that's got out of that old school CRPG combat system. Now, whether you like that or not, it's going to come down to how you feel about Pillars of Eternity, how you feel about the general gist of gameplay. You only get one race to pick from, which I always think in fantasy games like this is a bit lazy almost. I'm sure it's primarily for narrative reasons, but it would be nice to have, and I always think that gives you a lot more variety. Again, another strength of the Elder Scrolls games. And to a lesser extent, Dragon Age did it reasonably well as well. But yeah, I don't think it's the big hit Microsoft needs, but I do think it's a step up from Starfield. Okay. And on that note, I will see you next time.